How's it going, guys? Back at it again with another video. As you can tell by the title, today I'm going to talk to you about when I learned to speak English. If you have not checked out my last video, please go check it out. It took me like 2 or 3 days to edit that video because it was my first YouTube video ever. So please go show it some love, give it a thumbs up, comment on it, subscribe. So let's get right into it. Again, this is probably the second most common question I get from my students. The first one being, where are you from? And the second one being, when did you learn how to speak English? So we gotta go way back. And the first things first, we gotta talk about how did I even end up in America? Okay, so again, obviously I am not from America. I am from Malaysia. And if that sounds familiar to you, if you think you have heard about Malaysia before, remember that's the place where the planes went missing. So yeah, I'm from Malaysia. If you want to go even further back, because again, if you're thinking Malaysia, I'm like, do they have Indians in Malaysia? And yes, I am Indian. So we gotta go back to my grandmother. Oh, most amazing woman ever. Most beautiful, amazing woman ever. My grandmother was from India, and she basically moved to Malaysia back in the 1950s, if I'm not mistaken, or 1940s, one of those decades. And when she moved from India to Malaysia, she moved to Malaysia before Malaysia got its independence. So when Malaysia got its independence, she was automatically a citizen of that country. And obviously she had my mom, and then my mom had me, and I was born in Malaysia. And real quick, something about Malaysia. Malaysia is made up of three different races. That is Chinese, Indian, which I am obviously, and Muslims. So those are the 3 main races in Malaysia. Alright, by the way, Malaysia actually has its own language, and it's called Bahasa Melayu. Bahasa meaning language, and Melayu meaning a Malay. So it's a language of Malay. So now because my students ask me this all the time, and they're like, can you say something in Malaysian? So that's what I'm gonna do, and I want you guys to practice along with me. So this is what I'm gonna teach you guys how to say. Let me think about it. How are you? Okay, so again, I'm going to teach you guys how to say how are you. So in Malaysia, you would say apa khabar. So you go up to someone and you're like, apa khabar. That just means how are you. Again, try it for yourself. Try to say it to your students. Trust me, they are gonna love it, and they're gonna be like, oh cool, where is that from? And then just send them to my video. Do that. Alright, what else do I have? Oh, obviously the main question that you guys came here for. At what age did I learn to speak English? And the answer to that question isn't as complicated as you guys think. It's basically that I learned English ever since I was born. Right? Again, my grandmother grew up in India, so she knew the Indian language. But at the same time, when she moved to Malaysia, she also understood English. So when my mom was given birth, as she was growing up, she was acclimated with the English language. And when my mom had me, our whole family basically spoke English. Much like when you guys were kids, your parents spoke English around you, same way with me. My parents spoke English with me. And you know, obviously in schools, this is the most amazing thing, because in schools they teach you both language. And what do I mean by both language? I mean that they teach you English and they teach you Bahasa Melayu at a very young age. So when you are grown up, you're proficient in two languages. Additionally, remember what I said just now, Malaysia is made up of Chinese, Muslims, and Indians. So the Muslims have their own language aside from Bahasa Melayu. The Indians have their own language, and the Chinese have their own language. So aside from learning English and Bahasa Melayu, the students also have an option to learn one of their native languages. Usually parents send their kids to school to go learn one of those languages, and by the time they are 16, 17, by the time they are teens, they're proficient in 3 languages. So that's a pretty cool thing about Malaysia. Again, I never took classes on how to speak the Indian language. All I learned was Bahasa Melayu and English. And again, I'm proficient at both of those languages. Now, do I think my English is perfect? Absolutely not. If you ever seen Bugs Bunny, that's what I sound like sometimes. Not Bugs Bunny itself, I mean the guy from Bugs Bunny. I can't remember his name. If you know who I'm talking about, comment down below so people can go look him up. Again, I can't say my ass really well, so sometimes if I say rabbit, it sounds like saying rabbit, because I can't say my ass. If I want to say my H's, I gotta think about it, because if I don't think about it, this is what it sounds like. H. And my students used to make fun of me every single day, and I was like, what are you guys laughing about? And they're like, you say H weird. Again, see, I had to think about it. You say H weird. I'm like, no, I don't. And they're like, yeah. And then they kept trying to teach me to say the right way, and that's why when I speak right now, when I try to say words that begin with H's, I gotta think about it, because I gotta program my mind to the right way of speaking, if you consider that the right way of speaking. Another question is, does it affect my teaching life? Does it affect how my students understand? Do my students understand what I'm saying? Basically, yeah, I would say they do. Obviously the first week might be a little bit difficult, because they have to get acclimated to the way I say words. But once they get acclimated to the way I say words, they're usually pretty good about understanding the way I speak. And they're, obviously they make fun of me sometimes, but that doesn't bother me. I mean, I laugh along with it. You just gotta laugh at yourself sometimes and understand that, I wasn't born in this country. And when I mess up in class, or if I say something weird, the first response out of my mouth is, sorry, I wasn't born in this country. And they just laugh about it, and we laugh about it, because you just can't take things too seriously. And if you let them know that it gets to you, then that's when you're gonna have some problems, because that's when they're gonna keep picking at you, right? But if you just laugh it off, they're fine with it for most part. Alright guys, that is it for this week. Leave a comment on who that character was from Bugs Bunny that can't say their ass. That's me right there, 99% of the time. What else? Leave a comment on what you would like to see me talk more about. Leave a like up below, down below. Subscribe for further videos. Again, I got a lot of exciting new things to show you guys, so subscribe. and I will see you guys again next week. Thank you.